want to share about myself that might not be, that might not seem related to this program at first, but I promise it'll make sense later. So I first want to start off with the fact that I've always felt a lot of empathy for a lot of women and for a lot of mothers who are kind of robbed of their futures and their dreams and their careers because they're forced into things like early marriage or other situations. And that's why for me, I really always emphasize my studies, and I want to always advance my career in the future, and I don't really think about marriage much, to be honest, because I kind of have this negative connotation with marriage for women in America, especially because there are so many ways in which once you get married and then have children, that limits your career opportunities. But my feelings that I don't want to get married for most of my 20s, maybe far into my 30s, I'm grateful that this feels normal for me because, my parents got married when they were 35, 36, way after they rose up in their careers and spent a lot of time developing themselves before they settled down first. And I think that everyone here should be grateful for the fact that, being born in America, it often, compared to a place like this, it gives you the opportunity to choose what you want to do with your future. And this is where I want to talk about how this relates to the village. So I learned two things from here. One on one side of the spectrum and one on the other side of the spectrum. First, I want to pull something from Deng Jie. So although she got married super young and she has so many children, she's a great grandmother, even though she's only 60, she still has a very successful career. She runs her rice noodle shop, she owns 2 hotels, she runs her convenience store, and she lives a very fulfilling life surrounded by all of her children who work in this village helping her support her business. And this changed my perspective a little bit because even in places like these where it's more rural and more traditional, women can still find this balance between their career and their responsibilities as a mother and a wife. But it's also really important to recognize the opposite end of the spectrum, which also happens in this village. Today, when Johnny and Ava went to Luo Jie's son to interview about the side project, Luo Jie's son taught them a very shocking story about how oftentimes women in this village get married super young, like sometimes even under 15. And it's honestly really crazy because we're all, 15 to 18. Can you guys imagine getting married now? It's almost impossible, right? And he also even mentioned that there's a girl in this village who got married and she's 17, 18, right? And she has a kid who's 2 years old already. So that means she birthed her child at 16 and likely 15 got pregnant. And this is so crazy because in America, things like this never happen. Or not never happen, but it happens very little. And oftentimes it's very looked down upon. And and the thing is, these situations, it's not unusual for places like these that are very traditional and where you have stories like women getting lured into houses by men to have sex and then only being able to tell their parents, and their parents are fine with that because they say, oh, just get married, right? And then you'll get a dowry, right? Was it like 20,000 RMB or something, right, for getting married? And I just think it's really crazy because who knows, they might not have known what they were doing. They went into that man's house and then, had to become a mother so suddenly. And, they could have had so many ambitions, so many dreams for what they wanted to do in their life, but now they have to take care of their kids starting when they're 16. Like they maybe wanted to focus more on their education so they can move to the city and, really progress their career. Maybe then they can come back. But really, I don't want to say this, but shackled down by kids at the age of 15 is so unimaginable for us. And these stories, I think, are really important for, how they shape our perspective on our lives. I'm talking a lot about women right now, but I think that this story is also very applicable to everyone here, including the guys. These stories can both, teach and also encourage everyone because it's important for us to be thankful that for the places that we live in, the society that, in America, it's that we always have the ability to choose. We have the ability to choose mostly when we get married, when we want to have kids, whether we want to focus our career or not, or whether even if we wake up and want to study hard or not study at all. And we really should be more thankful, and we need to keep all of these stories in mind so we can study hard and persevere to really try to make this world a better opportunity, a better place, so that people who don't have the same opportunity as us, for all the mothers in this village who have to start motherhood at 15, I think that we really need to, I think that it should be a goal for us who have these opportunities to fight for equal opportunities for those who don't have those opportunities.
So today, my group had a really long interview. I think we only got back at around 11:43. And when we were doing the financial income statements and the balance sheets, we were kind of complaining, kind of joking a bit, saying like, oh, Diogo, like he went off topic so much. Like he showed us a tour of his entire house and like all of his like huayos, was the cultural like artifacts and things like that. And it cut into our working time a lot. But honestly, I don't regret it at all, because I think it was really refreshing to see someone so passionate and who cared so much about preserving his culture. Especially since I know that the Huayao culture dying down has been a major problem here as well in the younger generations. And for me at least, I thought that it was amazing because he has a lot of money. Both his sons went to college, they both have educations, they don't really have to be here, but yet his whole family is staying here because they're so dedicated to preserving their culture. And Diogo was so excited to talk to us so much, even if it wasn't beneficial for our project, to just showcase his culture to us. And for me at least, being from America or being in ABC or whatever you want to call it, I think it's really new for me to see someone who is like so loud and proud about how their culture is. Especially since like, I don't know about like the Bay Area people, but the place where I'm from is kind of majority like white people most of the time. So I don't really have that like same experience, I guess. And like I hear like over here like people here like all the actual Zhongguo people talking about like 来这边有 like 回老家的感觉. And sometimes like I catch myself wishing that I had like the same feeling, or I could at least, to like have some place to go back to and find like comfort in being able to like see people who look just like me, talk just like me, have like the same cultural references as me. Because like at home I don't, and at here I don't like either. Like I try to speak Chinese like as much as I can, like you guys like heard earlier. But like Diogo was so like welcoming, and he was so like proud to show his culture to us, which like I don't really like get to see a lot, I guess. And like it's just like nice to be able to see it from a different perspective, which I guess is the benefit from not coming from here. I'm able to look at it and appreciate it in a different way, which is why I am like pretty grateful for living in America and not being here, even if like not being able to speak Chinese sometimes is very, very annoying. But then like I also think that that's part of being able to like, you're able to accept like the hard and difficult things for things you truly care about and truly love. Like Diogo is willing to accept being in a rural location and losing money each year because there's less and less tourism and more competition, like Maggie talked about earlier, because he's so dedicated to preserving his culture. I think if you truly love or you truly care about anything, you're willing to accept those hard parts about it. And then like I also like want to talk about like the straw binding thing. I think that's also the part. Sometimes like when I see people do crafts like that where they don't really have like a super huge market and they don't really make a lot of money, but they dedicate their entire life to it, I sometimes like think, I'm like, well, why would they do that? Like if it doesn't really if they don't really like make that much money, but they're willing to do the super hard way to make like shoes that you can buy for like $2 now. They're super quick and cheap, but they're willing to do it the hard way because they care about it and they love it and it means a lot to them. So they're willing to accept those facts. And I think that I'm more excited to do that for this project. Even when it gets hard and when it gets late and it gets tired, I truly care about wanting this project to come out not like super perfect, but as good as it can be. And that's why like I'm willing to do the work that needs to be done to go in for it. And I think I'm really excited for that, and I hope you guys feel the same way too.